Hello. Hello. And if you stumbled upon my video, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Uh, I'm a little nervous. I'll be honest. Um, it's been a while and I'm happy to be here. And I'm glad you're here. And according to my title, this is a life update. So it's a lot to unpack, and if you have time, I hope you join me. And I went back and forth to decide if this was going to be a live or a pre-recorded. And with the nature of what I'm trying to relay, I figured it was best to be a pre-record, and I'm hoping that I can do this as a premiere. I don't know. And what I'm learning is, well, I'll just tell you what I've been learning. Okay, so today is January 29th, 2023. Forgive me for the noise. I'm trying to get myself together. I'm a little rusty, and I'm actually trying to find my notes because I had notes for this occasion and I can't find them. And this is very much what my life has been like for the last half year and definitely the last 3 months. I have plans, I make plans, and God decides on something else. So I'm going to assume that I am supposed to speak from the heart, which is good. I'm still looking for my notes. I don't want to rattle on, but once we get into the video, you'll understand where I'm at. So I'm just going to start to get my nerves together. And because for those who don't know me, my name is Sean. I have been on YouTube. Actually, my anniversary is this month. I did my first video in 2017 in Puerto Rico for New Year's. And I don't say I'm a YouTuber or a content creator. I am just a being out here that feels that in times I have something to share, and I am someone who believes in teachable moments. I made the specific and intentional direction of my channel that I was not going to come live unless I had something important to say. Something that was valuable and something that was memorable as far as a teachable moment that I could share about what has gone on with my life, and something that I have had a eureka moment. And I don't believe information is meant to keep to yourself. It's meant to share. So I only wanted to come on when I had something important to say. I felt that was important to be said. How about that? Because it's really my perspective. So I'm going to set this first with my intention, okay? And my intention is for anyone who comes across this video, it didn't happen by accident. You needed to come here and hear this message, hear this video. It resonated with you for some reason. And I hope that at the end of this video, you find comfort and peace. Because my intention is to bring comfort and peace who hears this. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is if you are or have been suffering a loss, I want you to know that I stand with you. I'm standing beside you, and you're not alone. And I say that because when you are having a loss, you feel even in a room full of people, you are alone. And I want you to know you're not alone. You're not alone in your grief. You don't have to suffer in silence. You are not alone. I see you and I understand you. We may not have the same loss as far as how we get here, but I understand you and you're not alone. So I wanted to read what I posted on my Facebook page. Is pretty much going to give you what has been going on in my life. I, again, had not made that many videos from the summer, mainly because nothing was going on and I really did not feel motivated to do a video. Every time I tried to click on the button, I was like, for what? It's like, this is not even important. So here I am. So I made this post November 14th, 2022. Okay. On October 24th, John, Sandridge, and I received the news that our son Jacob was in a car accident on the 8094 expressway. All we knew was that he hit a cement barrier at a high rate of speed and we needed to go to Chicago. His injuries were multiple, but the ones most concerning was to his lungs and brain. They were considered grave and we were told he was very sick. The team of doctors were absolutely amazing. They gave Jacob the utmost top-notch care and compassion. And for that, we are so thankful. Unfortunately, the injuries to his brain, especially his brainstem, was too much for his body to recover, along with the other compounding injuries he suffered. We want to thank everyone who reached out through prayers, acts of kindness, keeping us in your thoughts. We are forever thankful. Please forgive us to those just finding out. Once we receive the news, John and I have been by Jacob's bedside, and others have been kind, disseminating news as needed. It has been 3 weeks, and never had I imagined that I would walk out of the hospital without our son. Jacob was received into this world September 30th, 1999 in love with John and I, and we were there to see him leave this world in love November 12th, 2022. And I'm hoping to post a picture that I have with my son, one when he was a little boy, It was a mommy son dance at the school. I think he might have been 7. And then there is a picture with myself and my son, and he was 20, I believe 20. So that is what has been going on with me. I'll read a portion of his obituary, kind of get you an understanding of who he was, what his spirit was like. Jacob enjoyed reading, drawing, playing chess, boxing, and traveling. His favorite trip was with his dad to Italy after graduating from high school, where he fell in love with the culture, history, and food. Jacob was a deep thinker and highly opinionated. He was a private person who really loved his family. Some of Jacob's favorite memories, sorry, some of Jacob's favorite times were at home with his family around a dinner table, sharing good food and conversation. He will be missed by all. So my son's accident was this week, as of this week, 3 months ago. And as of this week, he's only left this world 2.5 months. So everything's very raw and very new. So one of the reasons why, of course, I have not been online is because with any loss, the most difficult year is the year of first. Unfortunately for me, I had to deal with the holidays kind of dead on because Thanksgiving was only 2 weeks after his passing. So we had Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. A lot of first that most people have a hard time dealing with. I had to deal with it right away. So Thanksgiving was very difficult. The holidays were difficult, not because it was the holidays, but because of the one thing that my son loved. He was a foodie just like myself, and he loved good home cooked food. I don't want to say my kids were very fortunate, but I tried as much as possible to cook food. So, when you think of leftovers, I was cooking at least 3 times a week, maybe upwards of 5 times a week, depending if there were any leftovers. So, probably every other day or so, I was cooking. And that happened pretty much until they all graduated from high school. And, obviously I didn't have to cook as much because they were doing their own thing, but my son loved my cooking. I think out of all of my children, I think Jacob was the one who loved it the most. Now, my youngest son, he loved cooking with me. I always wanted all my children in the kitchen with me, but my youngest son had been like side by side my sous chef since he was 9. But Jacob just loved he just loved the all of the labor that was done. He loved the fruits of my work. So he was definitely there to give me my words of affirmation and let me know how much my cooking was. And he was definitely the kid that when he would come home, he wanted some of his mama's cooking. So Thanksgiving was difficult. I was very angry and sad at the same time. I didn't want to hear Christmas music. Christmas Christmas ended up being a bust because we had a sickness in the family, so we kind of all retreated to our places. No, actually, that was Thanksgiving. No, take it back. There was a sickness during Thanksgiving, so we did not get together. Christmas, we all got together, and that wasn't so bad. New Year's has never been an issue, but we had made plans to go out, my husband and I, with another couple, and that was all planned in the summertime to go out. So we had these tickets, and when I say I know what it feels like to be in a room of people and you feel alone, is because I was at the Chicago City Winery, live music, food, everything was going fine. It was New Year's Eve. You know, I wanted 2022 to be over. I was ready for a new year to look at. And I was fine talking everything. And then there was the countdown. And the countdown starts at 10. So it wasn't that long. Okay. And as they are getting us prepared at the 15-second mark, it hit me what I've been going through. And I was really trying not to cry. And although I wanted 2022 to be over, at the same time, I'm reminded what the end of this year meant for me. Such a tremendous amount of loss. And I'm sitting in a sea of people dressed up, looking good, smelling good, feeling good, been having a good time, eating, drinking, snuggling up to their boo and to their bae and to their friends. Because you know it's New Year's Eve. And I don't know about you, but I think most people choose how they want to ring the year in, who they want to bring into the new year with. Whether people want to believe it or not, it is a spiritual thing. How am I going to ring the new year in? If I'm going to spend it with someone, who is that person going to be? And I'm thinking that I'm sitting here trying to move forward as best as I can figure out. No one knows that I, at this moment, want to scream, want to fall out. That no one can see the inner pain I've been going through. And at that moment, I knew what feeling alone was. So I gathered my composure after all the hugs and stuff. And I went to the bathroom. And I just let tears roll down. Because, you know, when you are the person who has had the loss, you don't want to walk around like your pain and your grief is a scarlet letter on you. Because people already feel bad for you. But I think if they saw the raw pain, I don't think they could handle it. And you don't want anyone to feel pain, so you try to hide it. So life goes on, right? Life goes on, and you got to figure out how to move life along. And I say that because in the midst of that, my oldest son's birthday was right before my son's passing. We tried our best to celebrate his birthday because he matters. And my granddaughter's first violin recital was at the end of Christmas, or no, it was just before Christmas. And we had to be there to support her because she'd been practicing. This is important. This is important stuff. So the grandparents and great grandma, we all got together to support her. There's, I don't know, 12 of us. And then after the recital, we went out for dinner, and she's sad too. She misses her Uncle Jacob. First time I saw her for Christmas, my granddaughter, she was like, I miss Uncle Jacob. And I said, honey, I miss him too. So we're sad in 1 week. And then, of course, you know, I have to be present for the other people in my life. And my granddaughter did such a great job. She was so brave getting up there and doing her recital, and she looked so cute. And of course, her dad had um, roses for her performance, and then uh, Grandpa and Grandma Sean, because I'm one of many grandmas. Um, Papa and Grandma Sean had flowers for her, and it was good. And we had ice cream. It was great. I went back to work. I finally went back to work last Wednesday, um, that Wednesday after Martin Luther King Day, and that was doable. But I went through my first full week, and it wasn't so doable. By Thursday, I felt so heavy with exhaustion to emotionally be plugged in back to work that I couldn't, there was not enough sleep during the week to feel normal, to be honest. So that is what has been going on with me. My children have suffered a loss, and I'm trying to be plugged in for them. And my husband and I, it's not something a couple should have to endure, but we are managing. And some of the things that have come along the way, I think for someone who's also suffered a loss, if you're one of those strong friends, we're not that strong. We crumble. And I kept getting this running theme about, oh, you're so strong. I heard it from my friends, well intentioned. You're so strong while I'm in the ICU. And at his celebration of life, you're so strong. Even now, I'm just I'm just so impressed. You're so strong. I don't know what that means. When I was by my son's bedside at the ICU, I wasn't feeling strong. It was the weakest point in my life. But what are you supposed to do when your child is laying there fighting for his life? Because the severity of his injuries, He shouldn't have been, he shouldn't have made it to the hospital. The nature of his accident, he should have been DOA. I don't know what strong is, but they didn't expect him to make it. And when I say that, we all know that any kind of head injury or head trauma is bad, but this one was bad. And he had to have 3 blood pressure medications because there was no oxygen and he was hypotensive, which is low blood pressure. They weren't expecting him to make it. And as far as the celebration of life, it was beautiful. I don't know what that means to be strong. And even now, I don't know what it means to be strong. I do know that I have to live, and I don't know how that looks without one less heartbeat. But curling up in a corner and checking out, it's not an option. I'm not really good at giving myself options anyway. So I'm going to do this other video, and it's on gratitude. With January coming and New Year's resolutions, I stopped doing those a long time ago. My pastor had a series of messages during the beginning of the year, and that was the intention for the whole year. So the sermons was always built on the new theme for the year, the new set of intentions. And I love that because intention talks about mindfulness and being present, and it's being focused. Even when you are not focused, you are subconsciously focused. And a good example is when you decide that you want to buy a car and you really have your mind set on that specific color car, then all of a sudden you see that color car and that color brand, that color model. So it's about the intention. It wasn't on your radar before, but now it's on your radar. And when it is on your radar, you are mindful, and your brain and your spirit opens up for something that was unrecognizable because they were already always there. So I really love that idea about setting the intention. So when there was the year of gratitude, I did not realize how much of a game changer in life gratitude was. There were so many messages through that year about gratitude. My life changed so much in that year of gratitude that I do other intentions that is set, and I will tell you what it is at the end of the message here of the video. I will tell you what it is for this year. And if it resonates with you, I really hope that you take the leap of faith and set your intention. I'm going to tell you how I got to mine, but I would love it in the comments that you give your intention for this year. And please drop it down in the comments. So I'm going to tell you about this, and then I'm going to tell you how I got to my intention. So, one of the things that I've learned about gratitude is that it is a game changer, it is a life changer. And gratitude, how I have experienced it, is showing everyday miracles. Now, see, when people are talking about miracles, they're talking about something really, really grand. But life is not done in the grand. Life is done in the mini. It's not the macro moments, it's the micro moments. It's not the big events. They can be memorable, but they're not necessarily miracles. Like taking the time to see gratitude in things, whether they are good and or whether they are bad. And anytime I've ever found gratitude, it has always received me and rewarded me with an understanding that I'm on the right path, to keep my mind open, that there are so many things to be thankful for, even in the midst of pain. So, some of the things that gratitude also does, it has a way of stripping the noise of life. And when you see miracles, you have to be present. So, I'm going to tell you the things that I'm grateful for that has happened during this journey. One of the things that I'm a mama bear, and one of the things that really, really uh, pained me, ached me, was that I didn't know if he was afraid if he spoke. It really was a very unsettled feeling because Jacob never woke up. And it was so traumatic. Did he ask for me? Did he know that he was dying? I didn't know. And we had many nurses that tended to him that were just wonderful. But Michael was one of the nurses that had tended to him. He was there mainly on the night shift. So as you know, everyone's going home, get visitors. They allowed one of us to stay for the night. So my husband and I, we took turns being by his bedside. So one of us would be able to go home and sleep in their own bed, because sleeping there in the hospital is not comfortable. So it was my turn, and I usually was spending the time with Mike, like the 10 to 7 shift, 10 at night to 7 in the morning. And he sat on in the lounging chair. I was sitting on the couch. He always asked me if I needed anything. Mike was the best coffee maker. So, I said no. He always asked me if I needed water, if I needed another blanket. He was really very kind to me. So, this particular night, he sat after he tended to Jacob, and it was a time where it was a good night. He had a good day, not too much. It was an uneventful day and looked like it was going to possibly be an uneventful night. So Michael sat down and he says, "Tell me about Jacob." And I told him some things about Jacob, mainly what I read in the obituary. And I told him that he would like him. He had a good sense of humor. And I had told him, expressed to him about what had happened. Because oddly enough, and I say this about life is in the mini and not the macro. I'm an early riser. Most of you know I go to the gym. So I usually leave very early in the morning because I have to be at the gym at 5. And most of the time, because Jacob was a vampire, he was up and he was making some kind of stir fry. And I'd always see him as I'm going downstairs and getting my coffee and getting everything ready to roll out. And looking back, I didn't see him that morning. I usually saw him most mornings, but in the scheme of life, I hadn't seen him that morning of the accident. So it kind of pained me. And then I don't remember, maybe I know it was no more than 2 days later. It wasn't a shift. And another nurse says, "Oh, um, Michael left this for you. Um, he said that you would want it to know." And he had went through his files and found the EMT report. Because no one talked to us about his hospital stay. Well, they reported about how he was at the hospital, but not the first responders. And he went above and beyond to find that for me. And it gave me a lot of comfort. That was gratitude unspeakable. So I ran into this lady when we first got there. We'd always meet up on the elevator. And then it was the second time we'd met up many, many times. So she said, she's okay, this has been happening way too much. She's like, if we meet again, we're going to have a conversation. We all laughed it off. And we ran into each other literally later that day. We ran into each other. She's like, okay, it's on. We're going to have a conversation. Beautiful, beautiful Black woman, had beautiful locks, you know, down her back, so pleasant. And she had this glow about her. And now I knew why. She was the chaplain. And so she said, I've been seeing you here. And are you a visitor? Are you someone? Are you here? You know, what's your story? And we told her the story. And she says, well, I am here. If you see me, don't hesitate. So fast forward when we get the news, I see her that day. It was one of the evenings that it was my night. And she came in and she sat with me. We talked, I think, maybe for an hour. And she, in the midst of that, gave me words of encouragement, words of hope, and words of promise. And for that, I have so much gratitude. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for my extended family. As when I mean extended family, I mean my tribe. I'm grateful for my husband, my children, my brother, my sister. They came. I hadn't known, but as soon as things happened, my husband made arrangements for my brother and sister to come. And that was really important because they were there to support me as we watched him transition. And for that, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to my husband. a complete rock. I always tell people sometimes in marriages, a year can feel like it's effortless, and a year can feel like dog years. But as long as you are going down the same path and the same journey, you can make it. And he has just been a rock. And being able to stay home, and that was important because I really needed that time, and no questions asked. And I have felt love that I never thought was possible from so many people. Love for me and my family. It's I have so much gratitude on that. February is going to make 29 years of marriage, and I've known him for 32 years. I don't know a more upstanding human being. I met him, I was 17 and he was 19. And we're going to celebrate 29 years of marriage. And I can't imagine if I really had to go through this. I can't imagine it being anyone else. So I'm going to end this with my YT family, my YouTube family. And I know when I decided to do this, that it was going to show a lot of vulnerability. I have had the opportunity to meet some wonderful people in the YouTube community. And I have to say, I have not had a bad experience. Every person I've encountered have been genuine. And I truly hope they thought I was genuine too. I don't have a bad story. I do believe in energy. I feel like I'm very intuitive. And anybody I've met, I've had nothing but a positive encounter. And all I can say is that I have, through this very trying time, have felt blessed and humbled by my YouTube community. When Jacob's accident happened, I reached out to my YouTube community. And I told them what had happened. And they took care of me in ways I am forever grateful. Some YouTubers you know, some you may not. Subscribers you may know, you may not. But they're part of my tribe. And when I reached out to my YouTube community, all I wanted was prayer. That is all I wanted, and that is all I needed. And I was just calling people who I knew were prayer warriors. Now, I never told them it was a secret. I never told them to just, don't say anything. I never said anything. I just reached out to my YouTube family, told them that I had a need, and that was it. And I'm sure that more than likely If I'm telling you this now, you just found out. But nobody made a point to make this something to be exploited, I guess, or to question, because I know sometimes people hear news and they don't know what to believe. Is it real? And all I can say is that I never told anybody to keep it quiet, but they understood the gravity and the sensitivity of my situation and protected me as a human being, being sensitive and giving me the grace that whenever I was ready to say something, I would let people know if I wanted them to know. Like that was understood. And all I can say is, I don't know if I if there is enough thank yous to repay you for that. People in my YouTube community blessed me with words of encouragement, reaching out. One of my beautiful people brought me food, touched me with comforting gifts of candles and things and tea. And I just want to say thank you. So, if you stayed long enough to the end of this, I came to my intention this year. That's gonna, I put it out there. So, as the time goes on, so you to find out what your word of intention is, you let a word that comes or a phrase that come to you openly and freely, and it just reverberates. You can't shake it. It's something that has been stirring in you and stirring in you and stirring in you, that it's time. The time is now to let it release and it manifests. So I just listen to my spirit, I listen to my heart, I listen to what resonates in my body that brings me a positivity that makes me want to almost leap, because you I can't shake it. So this year's word of intention is freedom. And I had been hearing that in my mind for weeks, weeks, weeks. So this is the year of freedom. And I am not even saying what it's freedom from. I'm going to let my God, I'm going to let my God tell me that. I'm going to let God tell me that. I'm going to let it just show up. And for you, if you feel it's the universe, let the universe tell you. What is your spirit telling you? So I'm just leaving it up to God to tell me what that freedom is, what the freedom's from. I made it through. So please let me know in the comments your word of intention. It may just pop up in your head. I'm really excited for you because it's going to be a game changer. Take care of yourself and each other. Bye.